This is a live broadcast, and we're going to pause for just a minute. This is an unannounced live broadcast. I'm actually doing this in a remote location, and yeah, I thought I'd just try a live broadcast. I'm going to go over a couple of watches that I've had for a while, and these watches are really good. I like them. The MW610H, great design, great look to them, and it's first impression is pretty good, but there's also some things about the watch that I am not totally fond of, but we'll get to those in just a little bit. And so we're going to pause here just for a couple of seconds and just let people get on that might be online. I'm going to go over my pocket dump real quick. This is kind of the pause before the storm here, before I get into some Casios. I'm going to go through a bunch of Casios. I'm going to go over the MW610s. I'm going to go over the Mudman, the Magpie. I'm going to mention the Square. Yeah, the Square is going to make a Casio cameo. So yeah, this is going to be a really interesting show, I think, for everybody. So just hang on, and we're going to go through the pocket dump first. So let's get the light. There we go. Get a little more light on the subject here. So what do I have for a knife? I'm carrying the Civivi Vision, and this is a knife that I absolutely love. It is a great pocket knife. It has the, oh, what is this called? Um, it's not the shark. I can't remember. Anyway, it's got a great lockup mechanism on here. I've been carrying this for a long time. You've seen this. I've done a video on this, I believe, a while ago, maybe 3 months ago. But this is a fantastic, fantastic knife. And I've been carrying this one a lot. Next up is, let's see here. We've got the tactical turn pen. Um, got the name on it. I just like it. One thing I don't like about this is the pen. The ballpoint in here is medium. I'm more of a fine ballpoint guy, so I'm waiting for that ink to wear out, and I'll put something fine tip in there. But this is really my new everyday carry flashlight. It's the Well Tool T1 Pro version 2. And I love this flashlight. This is a fantastic one. The version one had only medium and low. I'm sorry, high and low. This one has high, medium, low. So this was the version I was looking for. This was my claim that this is probably the best law enforcement backup flashlight you can have carried in your vest carrier. It's just a great. It's fantastic. Great overall modes on here. I'm not going to go through a review on this, but the size of this is great. It fits really easy on a vest carrier or a plate carrier. So this is to me one of the great law enforcement and maybe even military flashlights. It's probably a little too small for military, but law enforcement, this is great. I would definitely carry this if I was still law enforcement. Knives. This is the Victorinox Compact, and I've been carrying this on the road a lot. It's just a thinner version of the tools I like. I like to carry a few more tools than this, but this one's all right. I'm okay with it. And it's got the dangle pocket clip thing here, which I have grown to absolutely love. I will always carry this pocket clip so it carries vertically in my pocket, not laying at the bottom of the pocket without it. So yeah, this is huge. I have these on all of my Victorinox now, and I'll carry the oh shoot, which is the one? The Champ. I'll carry the Champ, pocket carry it if I have this dangler on here, which I do, and it just keeps it out of the bottom of my pocket. So it's actually really easy to carry the Champ in your pocket. And then I got the clip, and I carry this. This is the one that I carry all the time, every day. It has the fingernail clipper on here. You press this little plastic piece right here, and it pops it up. Okay, pull that out, and then you flip this over. It's actually very simple. There we go. And you got your fingernail clipper on there as well. It's just a great setup for the for me. You know, you get a hangnail or something that you want to take care of. You got to have something like this. All right. So that's the pocket dump for what I'm carrying. The watch I'm wearing is the GBD 300, and I got to tell you, this one is going to take care of the Square. I think the Square. The Square may have seen its last day. Let me get the lights. The lights in here are just terrible. I'm trying to figure out how to get the light balance better, but it's just not working out. So let me pull this light up here a little bit brighter. See if that helps. All right. Get a little more light on the subject down here. But the Square to me, I this is where these two watches, I think the GBD 300 might might take out the Square. That's my honest opinion. I haven't done the full review on this, but I've been wearing this GBD 300 for a long time. I think I've had it for almost 2 months now, maybe a little bit longer than that, and it fits fantastic. It has that health band strap on there, so you have better fitment on the strap. MIP display, step counter. Doesn't have the heart rate monitor, which I'm not totally. I don't really need that, but the step counter is actually really helpful. But when it comes to the square, it just has. Let me pull these off together. You can see how close these are. Now I know this square has the health monitor on the square as well. So I know that one exists. But this one just, I don't know, it has a little bigger size to it. It has the light right here in the center and fantastic deal. Bluetooth. Yeah, I think the GBD 300 might dethrone this as my go-to. Um, I don't know, low profile. Look at the profile of this. I mean, these are very, very comparable height off the wrist. Look at that. That is fantastic. So to me, the square, I don't know, the days might be numbered. Now, the downside is the battery on this GBD 300, I think it's 2 years. So you're not going to get the same battery length of battery use as you will off the square, especially the 5610U. This has got the tough solar on it. So it's going to be really tough to beat the low maintenance of this watch. So, all right, let me move this light over here. I just got to get this light set up here. It's just not. I thought it was good until I hit record or I hit live, and now I'm not a fan of it. So we'll get this bumped up. Let's bump the power on this one a little bit more. There we go. All right. All right. So this is the GW610H, not the GW, the MW610H. This is a very, very good looking watch. It's an analog watch, but you can see it has the sunburst dial on there. And let me get some more light on here. Yeah, there we go. It has a really cool textured dial on here, which I think is pretty neat. Um, and it's really, you can see it on the red version a little bit better. There you go. You can see that texture in there. Both of these, I think, are just fantastic looking watches. But as far as usability, not quite what I was looking for. So the MW610 analog watch, you've got great markers on here. I love the legibility of these watches are really good. The handset is good. I love the second hand on the blue one where it's yellow. The red one is white all the way across. So I'm not a huge fan of that. I wish it was a little bit more distinct, which is what the blue one has. The design of the watch, it's kind of a cool looking watch. These aren't real expensive. I think they run, I want to say they run about like $40 or something like that. I don't have all the stats in front of me, so I'm not going to give you a whole stat sheet on these. Um, Typical Casio accuracy, typical fitment on here. You've got the typical, the holes on here, which I'm not a fan of any Casio watch other than when you have the fitness watch where they've got the holes, the slots closer together so you can fine tune the fit a little bit better. But this is the typical Casio fit on here that I'm not totally sold on. But look at the sunburst effect on here. This is a good looking watch. I really, really like it. And I think this is one to consider if you're looking for an analog watch. It does have water resistance rating. I think it's 100 meters. Let me double check the back. Yeah, 100 meters. So you're going to have good water resistant protection on this one as well. It has a date window on here as well. So you got, I think, all the things you're looking for on a Casio. Let me pull this up a little bit closer. There you go. And you can kind of see there's some of that texture on there. You can see the handset on there. Not the best lighting. I know. I know. It's not my studio setup, but yeah, it's a cool looking watch. I think it fits fairly well, actually. Typical kind of Casio fit on here, but it's a great buy. I think this is a watch that you can definitely go with and have a little splash of color with it, have some fun with it. It's a little hard to get at the crown, to set the crown on here. You can see it's kind of set. There's the crown guards on the side there that are, yeah, they're pretty pronounced. And there's not a lot of grip to the crown itself. Plus, when you're setting the time or the date, it's really difficult to feel the, I guess, the position one, position two. And so it's kind of hard to set the date, hard to set the time. I'm always pulling it out to set the time. It's like, well, where'd the date set go? It's a pretty subtle position one, position two. So, so anyway, take it for what it's worth. I think these are great, and we're going to do a giveaway with these fairly soon. But I wanted to show off these watches because I think if you're looking for color, if you're looking for that kind of classic Casio look and going straight analog, this is going to be one of them. Now, another one that I've loved for a long time, and I actually tried to do a hydro mod on it, put some oil in here and inside the case, and that's the MRW 200. Now, the MRW 200 is, in my opinion, a far superior watch to either one of these. You can see just the handset on here, the numbers, the indices on here. Now, this is a black dial, white indices, and you have the color on here. So that's going to be a distraction. These are a little bit more blingy for that reason, but I just like to look, and it's a little bit smaller of a watch too. So when you look at the size, you're looking at a watch that is diameter-wise a little bit smaller, and it's a little bit closer to the wrist. So when you take into account the chunkiness factor, you can see that the chunkiness factor on the Magpie is far better, smaller, less than it is on the MW610. This is the MW610. This is the MRW 200. So for me, I'm definitely going with the Magpie if I was to make a choice between the two. But if you're going for something that has a little more color, you don't like the numbers for indices, you want to go with something that's a little bit more, um, I don't know, classy looking, I guess, maybe a little more classical sport watch look to it. You're going to find, I think these watches, I mean, the sunburst dial on the red one is unbelievable. It's awesome. Not quite as good on the blue. Let's see if I can get it to jump. See, it's just not quite as pronounced on the blue, but it's such a deep blue and black. I mean, it almost, when you're looking at the dial, you can see this right now, it's almost black. So I love that for that reason. The other reason I love this one is the yellow second hand. I love a little color on the second hand. This one has it where this one does not have. It's just a plain handset, white hour, minute, and second hand. So to me, I'd rather go with the blue. Now, if you'll notice that the 6 o'clock, the 12 o'clock, the 3, and the 9, they have a little splash of yellow on there. Okay. And then on the red, they've got a little splash of red up there at the top of the indices or down here at the 6 o'clock. You can see that on the 6 or the 12, 3, 6, 9 indices on there. So nice little splash of color, pretty plain watch. I wanted to show this off to you, show the world, I guess. I don't know. I haven't seen these before. I haven't seen anybody do a review on these before. And this is by no means a comprehensive review, but I do like the looks of it. I do love the fact that it's 100 meters of water resistance. They're analog. I love Casio analog watches. When you find a good one, and a lot of them are pretty good. And one of the reasons I like the analog watches is they do a good job of differentiating the hour hand from the minute hand. And the second hand usually has something different going on with it as well. So with the Magpie, the MRW 200, you've got a very nice, delicate second hand, which I really like. It has a little arrow tip at the end. But that's really nice. The hour hand is very distinct from the minute hand. This one has the day date. I wish it was just the date. I'm not a huge fan of the day date on this one because the dial is so small. It just makes everything kind of crammed in there. But yeah, it works. The Magpie has the same issue as the MW610. All right. The crown on these two are just too sheltered, too hard to get at. And now the Magpie, you've got a day date and you have the time. So it's even more difficult. So anyway, detectives on there. Outrageous Otis. All right. Yeah. All right. Thank you guys. Yeah, this is from the cuff. I wasn't planning on doing a live show, but I thought, you know what? I'm gonna get one out there and I'm gonna do a live show. And I'm also gonna do a recording and get another video out here this weekend or this week actually for this holiday week. So you're gonna see another one come out there. And I'm not sure if I'm gonna do a Casio or if I'm gonna do. I've got a couple analog watches I haven't done yet. One is from Northern Marine. Is it Nordic Marine Instruments? And then I also have a California watch company watch as well, which is I've got to do that one. Those are both analog. One is quartz, and one is a what is it? Miyota movement, I think. And I got a number of Casios too. So, but if I was to go between these three, I'm going Magpie. That's my. I still this is my one of my favorites. Now I know there is the MRW. Oh, what is it? The 400 or the 300? It's a bigger version of this one. And to me, it's too big. I look at the case size on it. It's like 50 something millimeters across. It's huge. It's gargantuan. And to me, that's just too big. Now, for those of you with bigger wrists, I think you can pull it off easily. This one's probably more suited for more people um, for this size. Okay. And I don't have I don't have the diameter size. I wish I had the diameter for this one because I know you'll want that. But I'll tell you what, let me put up, here's the square. We'll put these next to each other so you can kind of get a feel for what it looks like up against the square. So the square, 610, Yeah, it's bigger. It's bigger. Let's see. Here's the GD350. Oh, see, these are some of the watches I was wearing this week. So I was wearing the GD350 when I was out of town. I was in Phoenix. The CA53, that's another watch I was wearing. And then I was kind of going Casio, and I was going old school, the CMD40. Love this watch. And actually, in one of the sessions, I tried turning off the TV to see if it would work, and I wasn't able to. So the junior high devious side of me was trying to mess with people with their presentations. I knew who the presenter was, so I wasn't messing with anybody I didn't know. But I was wearing these two guys. But if you look at the GD350, okay, compared to the 610, the MW610, you can see they're pretty close. Okay. Now the GD350 being a G-Shock is going to be certainly thicker. All right. When it comes to height off the wrist, all right, you can see the 350 is definitely thicker. Okay. Of course, the Magpie is thinner than either one of these. Well, these are both the same, the 610. So when you look at the thickness on here, the 610, it's kind of a G-Shock looking watch. Like if you want a G-Shock looking watch, 100 meters of water resistance, you're going to get it. This is another one, 100 meters of water resistance. Let me double check to make sure I'm not. Yeah, 10 bar. So 100 meters of water resistance. This is a great watch. It's lightweight. It's slim. It fits under the cuff very easily, and it has a bi-directional bezel, friction bezel. Okay, so that works. Which I love that. Okay, because I do time things. When I'm cooking, I may have two timers going, and I'll use my watch for one of them, and I'll use the timer on the microwave for the other one. So there you go. There's the MW 610H. Do I recommend it? I recommend it. I think it's got a good look to it. I think it's got some good color to it. I'm just not a fan. I don't know I'm not a fan of what is it? I think it's the indices and kind of the bezel here. It's just too, I don't know. It's got too many little bumps and things on it. I'm a little bit more, I think I like the slick look just a little bit more. And so when you look at the Magpie, you can see it's just a different feel to it. And that's one of the knocks I think I have with the GD350. Just a little too much clunkiness to it. If it was just toned down a little bit more, this would be an awesome everyday watch. But that and what else is there? Oh, the loom. Oh, I didn't mention the loom on this. Absolutely horrid. Now, here's something that you got to keep in mind. There is no loom on the indices. And I'm thinking to myself, you've got to be kidding me. You have these indices that look like they're loomed. They should be loomed. None of them have it. It's just the hour hand and the minute hand, and I can't stand that because if you have it on your wrist and you're canted just a little bit left or right, and it's totally dark, whatever, you're just not going to know what the time is as well as you would if you had at least the 12 and the 6, the 3 and the 9 loomed up. If you had the quadrants loomed up, you could do it. No loom on the indices. That's what shot this one out of the water for me. I couldn't believe it. Okay. Magpie, much, much better. Now the loom on these are not great, but they do last. I mean, they last what, a half an hour, maybe to an hour. But they're definitely not all night. This is pretty weak stuff, weak sauce loom on here. But I just cannot believe they didn't put loom on the indices. Like to me, that's a no go. So is it a recommend? Yes, but be cautious if you're a loom nut like me. Um, yeah, this is one of the reasons why I'm not going to hang on to probably both of them. I'm gonna definitely give away one of them, but I may give away both of these. It's just not for me. Okay, so if you got your eye on it, let me know. And detective, weak loom equals less radiation. Yeah, if it was the old radium loom, yeah, for sure. Um, but yeah, so these definitely one of these is gonna be given away. I think right now the tally is for the red to be given away, and the blue is gonna be something I hang on to. But like I said, I may give both of these away. So there you go. MW610H. Yeah, it's a recommend, but it's kind of a light recommend. I think it's got a great look to it. If you're looking for a great watch and you don't mind the loom issue, this might be the watch for you. You've got some texture in the center portion of the dial. You can see that much more easily on the red dial than you can, I think, on the blue. I'm trying to get the glare, but the blue is just not quite as distinct, which is kind of what I like about it. It's just a little bit more subtle. Matter of fact, yeah, there's just a little bit in the center there on the blues, but it's not nearly as noticeable as it is in the red. The red, you can definitely see it. Okay, the red's powerful. It's a beautiful red, and it also goes from kind of a dark red to a lighter red, depending on the lighting conditions. You can see that right there, and then it gets really dark. Oh man, it's a beautiful, beautiful red. All right. So there you go. Now, the Magpie, love it. I've been wearing it. And this is, like I said, this is the one that this model was one that I ruined trying to do a hydro mod and filling the case with oil. I saw it on a YouTube channel try. I was like, I'm going to try it to see if I can do it. And yeah, I don't know. I still haven't done it. I think I'm gonna try it with this one. I'll probably wreck it again. Um, yeah, outrageous Otis. Yeah, the red one. Yeah, I love the red one too. I think I'm gonna try the Hydro Mod on this one eventually down the line again. I'll wear it for a while, kind of get the newness factor worn off, and then I'll be like, I'm gonna try it. It's a cheaper watch. I'm gonna try it one more time. And but it's just a fantastic little analog watch, and it's so incredibly legible. That's what I love about this. It's incredibly legible. It's compact. It fits under the sleeve very easily. How does it compare to the Square? You can see the Square and the MRW 200 about the same. I think the chunkiness factor on the Magpie is even less than the Square, so even it looks even less chunky. Just because the proportions, it doesn't mean it is, lower off the or lower on the wrist. It just means the proportions of the dial diameter compared to the height. It just has a less chunky look to it. Okay. Whereas when you have a smaller dial or diameter case, and then you have a high rise off the wrist, it looks chunky. Okay. Now I'll give you another example, and this is the other one I was going to talk about. The 9500, the Mudman. So Jim Kincaid, if you're out there it is. This is the GW 9500 MEC. This is the metallic bezel, the emergency responder edition. And the lighting on this is not very good, but I'm going to do a full review on this one again because I just love the metal bezel on here. You can actually see the difference. I've watched Jim's videos a couple of times on his GW 9500, and I can totally tell the difference between this bezel and the bezel that he has. And you can kind of see that little rise that he was talking about. I don't know, it was later on in one of the videos. Now, light just went off. Let me see if I can get this light back on. But anyway, the metal bezel I think is totally worth it. Yeah, I think it's something that will definitely gives a little bit more. You can see kind of the shine on it. I just love that. That is just so cool. That is so cool. I might kick the light up on this one. The other light just pooped out of me, so I'm gonna crank this one up. Now I'm losing that light. Hang on one second. There we go. And crank that up. There we go. There. Much better. So when it comes to the metal bezel, highly recommend it. I got this off the Casio website, and it does have the orange, red, and yellow I don't know, highlights that are on here, which I like it. See, I don't like cases that are huge color shifts, the red case, or you've got a yellow case or anything like that. I like the cases that have subtle colors on here. You've got the orange over here on the crown for the barometer. Not the barometer, it's not a crown, but it kind of looks like a crown. You got some orange indices in here. You got yellow, you got a red circle around the inside here. I think it just looks cool. I think the whole thing has got a nice overall look to it. So to me, I'm okay with that. And we're going to change the temperature on this one. There we go. So there, that's much better. The color rendering on here has just gotten a little bit better. But I love it. Now, what I was talking about was the chunkiness factor. Let's get the GD350 up here. And you can see what I'm talking about. When you look at these, you can see the dial diameter of the GD350 compared to the dial diameter of the Mudman. Now, Mudman is a little bit wider, not by much, but a little bit, I think. But then when you go profile and you look at these from the side, you can see that the GD350 has got a little bit of height advantage to it. Okay. But because it's more compact as far as the case diameter, it looks chunkier. Now they're not that much different. They're both high profile watches on the wrist, but the proportions is what gets it. And it's the dial diameter or the case diameter divided by the height off the wrist, and you get a chunkiness factor. The height for me, anything over like a 3.3 and up into the fours has a very good look to me. It has a very good proportion to it. So that's what I call the chunkiness factor. But I've been wearing this one. I love it. I love the light on this one. You know, great light, very legible. It's still what bothers me is the intensity or the boldness of the numbers on here is just not as high as I would like. I just wish there was, and then that has to do with the dual LCD screens that are on here because you have the compass screen on here as well, and so you have a second layer of LCD on here, which just makes the background LCD a little bit more dull. Okay. So let's see, I think click that and it comes out. There we go. So for me, that's just one of the things I'm not a huge fan of for this watch. I love the profile of this watch. I love the legibility of the watch. I love the light. It's tough as nails. And with the metal bezel on here, I think it's a done deal. So Jim, I highly, 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 highly recommend this. I think this is when you were talking about the Mudman being the toughest watch out there. I think this version of the Mudman is going to seal the deal for you. And so message me on this one. I may just pass this off to you if you don't want to buy another one, but I'm sure you probably want to buy another one. I would. But let me know. Um, Anyway, so the Mudman, love it. I'm going to do another review on this one. I'm going to focus a little bit more on the aesthetics of this watch and the metal bezel on here. And I'm going to get some close-ups of this. It's just, I mean, it's fantastic. There's not anything different about, oh, one thing that is different about this is that what was it? It was the multiband six linked right up. It linked right up. Now, somebody was telling me that there was a setting that you had to choose that would interfere with the multiband six linking up with the satellite hookup, or the not the satellite, the radio tower hookup, and the other version of it, or the other time that I reviewed this, probably had that setting tripped on there. So yeah, I don't know. I because this one linked up immediately inside the house, I'm like, okay, so that issue is gone. That's resolved. So that's one thing that you'll notice on the review when I come around. I'm much more, um, shall we say, nice about the review than the previous one. And it really bothered me that the multi-band six was not linking up. Even if I had a setting that was kind of interfering with it, still, like that's like having your tough solar not work as well because you have a setting. It's like, no, no, the tough solar needs to work really well all the time, every time. So to me, that's I don't know. I don't know why that would be an issue, but it was. So somebody pointed that out. So I'm gonna go back and research that again for the review. But it's a great watch. Now, another thing I'm not a huge fan of is the strap. It's just too stiff to start with. And people have said, yeah, it loosens up over time. And this is a brand new watch, so I haven't worn it that much, but I will try to break it in. This is still one of the things that bothers me is the stiffness of this one. The range man, I liked that strap a lot more than this one. This one is just it's awfully awfully stiff. And if you've had one of these for a while, let me know if they loosen up over time. I'm really curious about that. So, but so there you go. This is the Mudman. This is the MEC model, the GW9500 MEC. So this is the emergency responder edition. And yeah, I love the color, the highlight the colors on here because I'm a former cop. So it's one of I wish there's some blue on here. Honestly, that's the one thing. If they'd have put like a blue arrow on here or something, I just don't see any blue on here. You got firemen, you've got emergency, the orange for emergency like road work and stuff like that. You got yellow, red, but no blue for cops. I wish they had a little bit of blue on there somewhere. So Casio, emergency responders do include cops. All right. Okay. So there you go. Here we go. This is the setup. We got the 9500. We got the MW610s. Let me know what you think of the 610s. Let's get this in here so you can kind of see them a little bit better. And the Magpie, MRW200. And then we talked briefly about the Square. The Square, like I said, I think it's on the way out. Let me take this off. This is the GBD300 coming up. MIP display. As far as I know, now Jim Kincaid informed me, he says, hey, Tim, I don't think they're selling those in the United States. So I have a contraband issued one through eBay, which is not uncommon. But I really, really like this watch a lot. Downside is it's a 2-year battery. And for me, a 2-year battery is like, oh, come on, put tough solar on something like this. But I love the setup. You have a dedicated light button here. There's a couple of modes on here. I'm not sure how to use this. I have been reading the manual over and over again. I'm not sure how to use this watch totally yet. Okay. It's different. I'll just say that the modes on here are different. They're not as intuitive as I was hoping they would be. So I'm going back and I'm actually studying the manual on this one. But it does have a lot of different pieces to it. Stopwatch, you have timer, activity. It does do notifications. So if you're into the Bluetooth stuff, it'll tell you what you have a notification for. And yeah, back to time. And you have different time modes. You can choose the different settings for the face of the display, and you can get that to set up. So the Square and the GBD 300. I tell you what, the GBD 300, it may it may take over my smaller. If I'm looking for a smaller Casio watch that's tough as nails, this might be the one. I may sunset the Square. I'm honest, like this is tough. I think this is one that's going to be Yeah, it's gonna be tough to hang on to. So that's coming up. So there you go. Put your comments down below. That is the end of this live. It's not supposed to be too long. I haven't done a live episode with Jim or Paul, and we're gonna get that together pretty soon. We were still hanging on to the professional wrestlers watches that we would pick for professional wrestlers. So that's gonna be coming up soon. And it's gonna be entertaining. It's always entertaining when we talk about those things, but I've been dealing with some personal stuff, and I think it's starting to kind of clear up a little bit, or at least I'm feeling better about some things. So we'll get that live episode up and running too, and you'll see some other episodes again for just typical watch reviews. I've got a bunch of Casios. I've got some couple of AliExpresses. I've got a steel dive that is gargantuan. It's kind of funny, but I actually like it. It's a 1,000 meter diver, and I actually like it. I think I'm gonna wear it tomorrow when I go see my boys and see what they think of it. But it's huge, but it's kind of cool, I have to say. So those will be coming up as well. So put in the comments down below what you think of these watches. The MW610, we've got the Magpie, the MRW 200. We have the GW 9500 Mudman with the MEC model with the metal bezel. We have the GBD 300 with the fitness step tracker on here. And then of course we have the classic, the 5610U, which I love this. It's a class. It's not going anywhere. I'm going to hang on to it, but I may not wear it as much. So there you go. Let me hear what you have to say. There you go. My name's Tim. It's been another Real Ideal Gear review. Thank you for joining me on live, and we'll see you guys next time.